Well, a very, very happy Monday morning to everyone. Welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Glad you could join me. A lot to get done today. This is a big week. It's a big week on the baseball front. It's a big week on the basketball front. All the conference tournaments. We got two San Diego teams going to be playing in conference tournaments, with San Diego State starting later in the week and UC San Diego getting ready to roll over in Las Vegas. So we got a lot to cover. I want to start off the program saying hope everyone had a great weekend. I certainly did, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. But I want to remind everyone, if you're tuning in for the very, very first time, please subscribe, please like, please share, please tell a friend. And if you'd like, be a part of our Gold Glove membership program at $2.99 a month. You go to our YouTube page, it says join. It only takes a matter of seconds. And the other thing that I would like, because each and every program, we go back to questions from the prior show on our YouTube page and questions. So if you don't get in during the show, please, go to the YouTube page and write in a concern, a question, a comment, whatever you'd like. And we go back and look at them. And it gives us great material for our next program. So we'd very much appreciate that. Before I get into the Padres, I want to congratulate my oldest granddaughter, Connor, at Torrey Pines High School. Her and her girls' beach volleyball team went on and won the La Jolla Classic on Saturday. And it wasn't easy. There were some really, really good teams. It was a 12-team tournament. Some really tough teams. I mean, Point Loma's tough. Who they beat in the finals. Point Loma had beaten them earlier in the tournament, and Torrey Pines worked their way back, took down a tough Scripps Ranch team, got by a dynamite Carlsbad team, and then got Point Loma in the finals and were able to defeat them. But a 12-team tournament, and congratulate to Connor and their entire team and the coaching staff to do an incredible job. And they got a powerhouse. They've been very good for a long period of time, just trying to crack through to win the county title. They've never lost a league game over the last, I think, 4 years. Connor's played on the team since her freshman year, and they haven't lost a league game. But I can tell you, man, girls beach volleyball getting better and better and better at the high school level. But it was a big tournament win, La Jolla Classic, and congratulations to La Jolla High School. Their coaches and players and parents put on a marvelous tournament over the weekend. It was a fantastic tournament down in Ocean Beach. I was there from 7 o'clock with my wife until 5 o'clock, and saw the girls get their medals. It was really a fantastic tournament. A lot of great young female athletes. We talk about the men a lot, but obviously I have two daughters. I've got four granddaughters, three of them that are playing. I went yesterday and watched my 10-year-old granddaughter pitch, and she had a good day. Her team had 1-1. They went 1-1. She got to pitch a couple of innings yesterday, a couple of shutout innings. Looked really good out there on the mound. So spent a lot of time out at athletic events over the weekend. But when I wasn't at athletic events, I was watching, and I watched a lot of Padre baseball. I watched a lot of WBC, and now really focusing in on college basketball. Lakers, what a great win, though, for my Lakers yesterday against the New York Knicks. I was all fired up about that. I really didn't expect them to beat the Knicks. Knicks are really good, but the Lakers stepped it up yesterday, and that was without LeBron James yesterday. They got the job done. But we got to get into the Padres. I got a lot of things to say about the Padres today. We're only 2 weeks away from training camp ending. And remember, they open up on March 26th, a Thursday, against Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers. I mean, and I can't begin to tell you, I started thinking about the pitching staff of Detroit, who the Padres are more than likely going to see in those first three games. Now, it's kind of a quirky schedule. They play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they're off the first Sunday of the regular season, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. There are a lot of things that don't make sense to me in the sports world nowadays, scheduling wise, among other things. But they open up on Thursday. They'll get Skubal, then probably get Framber Valdez, and then there's a good chance they'll get Justin Verlander, or they'll get Casey Mize. They're going to get three dynamite pitchers the first three games. They're going to be tested right out of the gate. And then they got an off day on that Sunday, and then the Giants come rolling in. And I think that's significant because the Giants are going to be good, and they're going to contend for a wild card in the National League West. So we'll see the Giants very early on. Tony Vitello, their new skipper. That's going to be very interesting. Okay, let's get to the Padres. They're 8-8 right now. And again, Tatis and Machado and Bogarts are off playing in the WBC right now. But this afternoon, you got Texas coming over to take on Randy Vasquez and the Padres. Randy Vasquez pitching great right now. We're going to talk more about the rotation a little bit later in the program. But Randy Vasquez coming off a season a year ago where he was 6-7 and a 3.84, off to a great start in the spring. Couple of appearances, 4 2/3, giving up 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He's going to go against a pretty good guy today. A real good guy. A guy by the name of Jacob deGrom going to throw a little bit today. deGrom last year, 12-8 and a 2.97 for the Rangers. That'll be kind of fun to watch. I'm going to watch a little bit of that today. Now, kind of recapping the weekend, we're going to work in reverse order. We're going to start off yesterday. Padres just pounded Cincinnati 14-3. They out hit them 10-5. They were 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position. A guy that's really starting to make his mark, and we're going to talk more about him later. Logan Gillespie had his wife just gave birth to a baby here a little over a week and a half ago. The guy's come back, been absolutely lights out. 4 innings yesterday, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, a couple of strikeouts. Turned it over to Kyle Hart. He's been outstanding in the spring, 2 2/3. Allowed absolutely nothing. He had 3 strikeouts. Then they had young guys, Ethan Roots on, Justin Yeager, Manuel Castro through. Offensively yesterday, Jake Cronenworth, an RBI triple. Jackson Merrill, 2 for 3 and a double. Gavin Sheets launched the 3-run homer. Romeo Sanabria, 3-run homer yesterday. And I'll tell you what, he's opened some eyes up there during spring. One notable scratch yesterday was Ramon Laureano. They scratched him about an hour before the ball game, and they called it general body fatigue. So not happy to hear about that with Ramon Laureano, but that's what happens this time of year. Now, just real quick on the Padres schedule. The Padres will have their first off day of the spring on Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, the 18th, they will have their last off day. So they will have an off day. It used to be in spring training, you'd get 1 off day. This year, you're getting 2, and the Padres are going to get them very close to the end of camp because the Padres break camp 2 weeks from today. And they'll be back. They got a game, I think, at 12 o'clock that day against Seattle, and then boom, they'll be on their way home. And I would imagine some guys will already be on their way home. And then I don't know what the workout schedule is going to be leading up to that Thursday game, but they're off the 11th and they're off the 18th. Now, going back to Saturday, they were on the road. They took on Cleveland down in Goodyear. They got beat 7-1. They out-hit the Guardians 10-2. Padres kicked it around a couple of times. Michael King, not a great outing. 3 2/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, gave up a 2-run homer to Rhys Hoskins. So far, he's 0-2 with an 8.31 ERA. Then they went to Garrett Hawkins for 2/3 of an inning, Lowen for 2/3 of an inning. Left-hander Jackson Wolf threw a couple. Bradley Rodriguez, 1 inning, 1 hit. He's got a shot to make it, I think, in the Padre bullpen. Offensively for the Padres, even though they had 10 hits, they only had 1 extra base hit in that game Saturday. Nick Solak, a double. And I got to tell you, I don't think Solak will make this ball club, but he's swinging the bat really well, hitting 375 so far in spring. Bryce Johnson, who had 346 last year in a limited role, having a really good spring. I don't know if he makes it. I really don't know if Bryce Johnson makes it. 2 for 3 yesterday or Saturday with an RBI. Freddie Fermin, a 2 for 3 day. Ethan Salas, Tirso, Ornelas, both were 1 for 1. Got to keep up on the young guys. Ethan Salas and Tirso or Ornelas. Kind of surprised Ornelas didn't end up being on Team Mexico. Friday night game. And you could tell these guys wanted to get out of there, and they wanted to get on with their business. Great crowd though at Peoria. They had 8,865. A very quick ball game, I might add. I think there were a lot of first pitch swingers the other night on a Friday night. Padres beat the Cubbies 3-0. Cubs out hit the Padres 7-5. Cubs were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Padres were 1 for 8. A good night for German Marquez. After a very so-so first outing, Marquez came out. I thought a very strong performance. 3 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, and then followed up Marco Gonzalez. He came in, and he had not pitched well. You got to remember, this guy's coming off a flexor tendon surgery. And it's going to take a while. It's going to take Joe Musgrove a while. That's why we're going to talk about the rotation here in a couple of minutes. But Marco Gonzalez, really nice effort backing up Marquez the other night. 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, but 5 strikeouts. Adrian Morhone came out of the pen. He was dominant. 1 inning, gave up a hit, but struck out 3. Jeremiah Estrada looked good. 1 inning, a walk, 2 strikeouts. And David Morgan, who came on the scene a year ago, good ball game the other night. Got a couple of runners on, got out of it. 1 inning, a hit, a walk, a strikeout. Offensively, not a lot going on. Miguel Andujar, a 1-for-1, a double, a walk, couple of runs scored. Nick Castellanos, 1 for 2, and an RBI infield single. You know, the thing I got to say about the Padres right now, they got a lot of guys offensively that are having good springs. I mean, that's not always the case. But, I mean, you got guys battling for jobs. Ty France, Miguel Andujar, Castellanos, who I think will be on the ball club. You got guys that are battling. Bryce Johnson battling hard for a job on the ball club. It's going to not be an easy decision for A.J. Preller. And I also read an article last night before I went to bed, and it was talking about Ty France, how Ty France could get out of his contract in the next couple of weeks. He could get out before opening day. If he's not going to be on the opening day roster, he could ask out. And they would have to grant him an opportunity to go somewhere else. And I would imagine there's other guys that have that. I'm sure some of the pitchers have that in their deal. So we'll wait and see, man. But, you know, this is a good problem to have. I mean, you don't have much of a minor league system right now. You don't really have guys down there that you can bring up and they're pushing to get to the big league roster. But you brought in these veterans, and right now these guys can play. I mean, Ty France is 31 years old. Miguel Andujar, he turned 30 yet? I'm not even sure he's turned 30 yet. And you know what Castellanos at 34, you know what he's all about. Somebody asked me the other day, I was on a Philadelphia radio station the other day, and they asked me about Castellanos. Of course, they wanted to talk about him, if he's minding his P's and Q's here in San Diego. I go, he's been great. He's swinging the bat well, playing a little first base. That's a work in progress. He's not going to become a Gold Glover in 3 weeks down in Peoria. I'm telling you right now, the Padres' everyday lineup will be better from top to bottom than they were last year on opening day. They have to be. They have to be better. Because towards the end of the lineup last year, once you got down to the 8th and 9th spot, it was hit or miss. I mean, you had no idea what you were going to get out of even the 7th guy a lot of the time. I mean, you were giving away 3 innings a ball game with those guys coming up. You had no chance. You had no chance. Now, from top to bottom, I mean, you got Freddie Fermin hitting probably in the 9th spot, and that guy can hit. He's not going to drive the ball out of the ballpark, but I guarantee he's going to hit some doubles and going to, hit for a decent average, have a decent on-base percentage. They're going to be a lot better offensively. And I do think they're going to be good pitching, but right now I do have concerns. You know what? I wouldn't be a good coach if I didn't have concerns. I always have concerns. There's no ball club that's perfect. And we're going to get into the Padre rotation right now. And we're going to start off with Nick Pivetta. Now, I want you to get your questions ready because we're going to get out here pretty quick and talk about everything. And you've got to have some questions. If you've been watching, listening, reading, you got to have some questions for me today. So I want you to pick it up and let's get after it a little bit. Okay, let's start with Nick Pivetta. I guess I'm concerned. I'm concerned because he's got arm fatigue. But you know what? It's what we used to call dead arm period. But usually with dead arm period, you might give yourself a little rest, but you'd play catch. I read the paper today, and Pavetta hadn't thrown in 5 days until Sunday. And they're hoping to get him back on the mound, later this week. Now, I hope it's nothing more than that. The Padres a lot of times will say, well, everything's fine, day to day. And all of a sudden we find out there's a bigger problem. But, so far I'm looking at Pavetta's numbers. They haven't been real good so far this spring. And again, I realize it's early, and I'd be the first one. You could go back on my podcast a week and a half ago, and I said, hey, the first couple of outings I don't worry a whole lot about. But why I'm getting worried is these guys are not pitching enough for me. They're not logging innings. And I'm going to go one by one here, and we're going to take a look at each guy, what he's got done, and where I think he needs to go. Now we'll start with Pavetta. So far, he's pitched in 2 games. He's pitched 5 innings in the spring, and he may not pitch until later this week. So that tells me he's only going to get maybe 2 more opportunities to go out there. And I know they're throwing on the backfields. I know they're throwing bullpens, but I want to see him, against major league hitters. And so far, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Batters in the Cactus League are hitting .429 against him, and he's got a whip of 2.40. And I know you got to take those numbers with a grain of salt, but he's only pitched 5 innings. Hell, guys used to come out the first spring training game and throw 3 innings. Now they throw 1. Okay, so I'm concerned. He's got arm fatigue. How's he feeling today after throwing yesterday? When's he going to throw in a game again? So maybe only 2 more opportunities, and I thought he'd probably be the opening day starter. So I guess I'm concerned. Should I be concerned, or should I not worry about it? They got plenty of time to get him ready. You basically got 2.5 weeks to get him ready, and he's throwing 5 innings. Okay, Michael King has not been good. 3 appearances, he's 0-2, not the record matters, but he's got an 8.31 ERA. He's pitched 8 2/3 innings, given up 10 hits, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, given up 3 homers. Batters are batting .294 against him, and he's got a whip of 1.62. Okay, and with that being said, I'm not overly concerned about Michael King. I just want him to be healthy. As long as he's healthy, I think he will be fine, but he got to pitch better. He got to pitch better right now. His numbers are not great. And I would expect him the next time out to go 4 innings, at least go 4 innings. I don't know if they'd stretch him out. Maybe the last start, they'll stretch him out to 5. But so far, he hadn't had a great spring, but he's healthy, and that's the main thing. Okay, Joe Musgrove, coming back from Tommy John surgery, well documented. We know a lot about Joe. Hardworking guy, dedicated guy, always in shape. So far, 1 start, 2 innings, 5 hits, 1 run earned, a walk, 3 strikeouts. Wasn't sharp, but he was healthy. And they took him out in that first inning. He'd given up a run. The bases were loaded. The pitch count was getting up. They took him out. They brought him in the second inning, did a nice job. Third inning, got a couple of batters out, and they took him out. That's fine. Okay, you got to be careful with a guy coming off of Tommy John surgery and a guy that's trying to do too much. He threw 95. That's better than he used to throw. And again, in the last year in 2024, he was throwing with a bad arm. I said that day in and day out. If you listen to the podcast 2 years ago, I said it day in and day out. Joe Musgrove, he's hurt. But no, everybody's, he's not hurt. He's hurt. Okay, I knew that. Did Joe tell me? No, Joe didn't tell me. I could watch him. I know what this guy's all about. I worked with pitchers for years and years and years. I could tell he wasn't the same guy. He was trying to do things different to take away the pain and soreness. But now he's back. And I think he's going to be fine, but you got to give him time. And I'm not sure he's going to be ready to make his first start. And if it is, the bullpen better be on call. He may only be able to go 4 innings, which wouldn't be bad coming back from Tommy John surgery. But again, he's throwing 2 innings in the spring. I know he's throwing simulated games. I know he's throwing bullpens. Great. I want a guy in a different uniform up there trying to inflict damage to him, to where Joe's got to work. Joe's breaking ball actually looked pretty good. There were a lot of things that I took out of that. Numbers-wise, I didn't really look at those a whole lot. I mean, numbers weren't great. But I was watching for other things. And I'm really anxious. He ought to be pitching here in the next couple of days, and maybe throwing tomorrow. I'm not sure. Again, they're off on Wednesday, so they may wait till Thursday. I haven't seen the lineup today and for next day, but maybe he'll throw tomorrow. But I'm real anxious to see him because I thought he made some strides in that outing, and I really did. But I'm just not sure he's going to be built up. And again, I want to remind everyone, and we're going to talk about Marco Gonzalez here, a guy coming back from flexor tendon surgery here in a couple of minutes. You got to realize velocity is going to come back. Guys have been working to get stronger and, clean up their mechanics. I thought Joe's mechanics looked pretty good. But the command of your fastball, you try to overthrow a little bit. You got a new arm, man. You want to test it out. But the command on breaking balls, changeups, all that kind of varies from guy to guy. I think both these guys, between Gonzalez and Mother, they're going to get better as the season goes on. But this is one of the things that you fight after having surgery on your arm or shoulder. Okay, let's talk about Randy Vasquez. Randy Vasquez has been great. I mean, really, really good. So far, 2 outings, 4 2/3. He threw 4 innings the other day. In his second outing, he's only given up 1 hit in 4 2/3, no runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Velocity's way up, 95, 96. I don't know if he'd be able to hold that much of the year. I mean, that's not who he's been in the past, but they told him to get in the best shape of his life, and apparently he listened. And he went out there and done a good job so far. I got an 0.67 average against him as far as batters. Guys haven't hit him at all. He got an 0.86 whip. So Randy Vasquez right now really getting the job done. Herman Marquez, first outing, very so-so. Overall, 2 games, 1-1 with a 5.40 ERA, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Batters hitting 300 against him with a whip of 1.20. But most of that came in the first outing. Saturday against the Cubs, outstanding. 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Man, that fifth spot's going to be interesting because of all those guys, whether it be Marquez or Marco Gonzalez, who look great, and I'm going to give you his numbers in a second. Walker Buehler, man, Logan Gillespie, we're going to talk about him. He's put himself definitely on the radar. I mean, it's going to be cut down day is going to be very interesting. And I'll tell you, the guys that have options, they're an endangered species because they may end up having to go to the minors, not because they perform poorly, but because they perform very good. But there's not enough of spots on this roster for them. But Marquez really looked good the other day. And now let's get to Marco Gonzalez. Interesting, he's a left-hander. His ERA so far is 5.87. He's pitched in 3 games at this point. But yesterday was fantastic, or Saturday was fantastic. 3 innings to 3 hits, no runs. Looked great. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So far, first 2 outings were not good. 7 2/3 overall in the spring. 13 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 hit batters, a walk, 8 strikeouts. A whip of 1.83, and hitters are hitting 382. But all that damage was done in the first 2 opportunities. And like I said, when you're coming back from a surgery, and in this case, he had left flexor tendon surgery, didn't pitch at all last year. So just kind of getting his feet wet once again at the big league level. But he looked good on Saturday. Walker Buehler, we haven't seen a whole lot. He's pitched in 1 game, 3 innings right now, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Hitters didn't hit him well in that game, 182. Gave up a couple of early runs, a whip of 1, but not a whole lot to show for. Only 3 innings right now, so you got to build him back up. And you got time. Him being the fifth starter, you've got some time there. Logan Gillespie, like I mentioned, put himself on the radar. So far, 3 games, 1-0, no ERA, a 7 2/3, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Batters so far in the spring hitting 120 against them, a whip of 0.65, been fantastic. Yesterday against Cincinnati, 4 shutout frames, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Put himself on the radar, definitely. I figured he was vying for a bullpen spot. I'm not sure he has options left either. So that will be very interesting. Now, a guy that I've kind of kept my eye on, you have to understand, I've got an affinity for left-handers, and I think a lot of it has to do when I was in college, coaching, in high school coaching, I was blessed with some great left-handers, some great left-handed pitchers at Maricosta and at Torrey Pines High School. Didn't really have a big left-hander at Southwestern when I was there, and we had some good pitchers at Texas Tech. But when I was at Torrey Pines, we had well, Pete Roberts pitched for me at Maricosta. Pete went on and pitched at Alabama, and then played a number of years of pro ball. Ryan Lynch, who John Lynch's younger brother, who pitched at UCLA and pitched in about 3 different organizations with the Padres, the Orioles, and the Minnesota Twins. But I was always around good left-handed pitchers that I worked with. So I look at these left-handed pitchers and look at them a little bit differently, just because I was fortunate to have so much talent around me when I was coaching. But Kyle Hart, who has not had much of a big league career, he got a cup of coffee a few years ago with Boston, didn't pitch well, went to the KBO. 2024 had a marvelous year. Padres noticed it. They bring him back to the big leagues last year. Now, here's the deal on Kyle Hart. First of all, he's pitched great in the spring. 5 appearances, 1-0, no ERA, 8 2/3, 3 hits, 1 hit batter, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Batter so far in 8 2/3. You got to remember, pitching in the Cactus League, it's a hitter-friendly league. And so far in 8 2/3, Kyle Hart is average against him is 111, and the whip is 0.69. Now, I know last year he was a starting pitcher, and I used to jokingly say, you know what? When you're going to pitch him at home, he's fantastic. His numbers at home last year, check this out. He appeared in 20 games last year. He had 3 starts at home, and he had 3 starts on the road. His home numbers, check this out. He was 3-0 with a 3.91 ERA. Batters in 25 1/3 innings hit 169 against Kyle Hart. 169 in 25 1/3 innings. In road games, just the opposite. This is unbelievable. 0-3 with an 8.66 ERA. Batters batted on the road in 311 average, and that was in 17 2/3 innings. When he pitched at Petco Park, he was fantastic. When he was on the road, he couldn't get anybody out. But he started 3 games at home, 3 on the road, ended up going 3-3 with an ERA of 5.86. So I don't know what the deal was. I mean, those numbers are vastly different. Maybe he needs to take his pillow on the road or something. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. But he's a guy that nobody's talking about, but he's a guy that I think could make this ball club in a variety of different ways. I mean, he could be your long guy. He could be a situational left-hander. If you got, 2 left-handers coming up, and you're going to have to face a righty because you got the 3 better minimum. But I think Kyle Hart can help this ball club is what I'm saying. And he could be a spot starter. You got a guy go down, man, you throw Kyle Hart in. Hopefully it's a home game. But I'm not ruling this guy out. I think this guy can help the ball club. Now we'll see what happens, how they're going to sort it out. I mean, you got some guys in the bullpen. I mean, Yuki Matsui's down right now. He's going to be coming back. You got Wandy Peralta, and you got Adrian Morone. You got 3 lefties in the bullpen. That's pretty damn good. And so we'll see how it goes. But that's what I got. But am I concerned about the rotation? Yes, I am. Because I'm not sure all these guys are going to be built up for a variety of different reasons. Everybody's a little bit different. Michael King's got to pitch better. Pavetta's got to get through arm fatigue. Musgrove's got to be built up a little bit more. The only guy I'm not really concerned about of the guys we know that are going to be in the rotation is Randy Vasquez. Randy Vasquez pitched great. And now we got to get a couple of other guys built up. And the Padres do have some off days early in the season. Like I mentioned, they got that off day on Sunday right after they played the first 3 games against Detroit. But I had to bring that up today, and I hope you think about that a little bit. Okay, last thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not going to get into who beat who and what bracket this team's in and what bracket the other team is. I know tonight at 5 o'clock, I'm going to have my rear end sitting in front of the television. This can't miss TV if you're a baseball fan tonight. You got Team Mexico, Benji Gill. I'm going to tell you a great story about Benji Gill here in a second. Benji Gill managing the Team Mexico. Mark DeRosa managing Team USA. Both teams 2-0 right now. Both teams are stocked with talent tonight. United States has a definite advantage. Paul Skeens is starting, okay? Paul Skeens and Skubal are two best pitchers in the world right now. It's that simple. And Mexico is going with right-hander Manny Barrera. Manny Barrera hadn't pitched in the big league since 2021. He 1-0 in his major league career with Baltimore and a 13.50 ERA. He's bounced around. He's played in Tijuana. He's played all over the world. Last year, he played in the Chinese Professional Baseball League. I didn't even know there was a Chinese Professional Baseball League. I know about Nippon. I know about the KBO. I know about Taiwan. I knew nothing about the Chinese Professional Baseball League, but that's where he's been pitching. I think the United States has a definite advantage. But tonight, 5 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story about Benji Gill, and then we'll get out to Coach's crew. I think it was 1992. It was the year before I quit coaching, and because I was getting so busy in the radio business. I coached 93, and then I actually coached softball for a couple of years. I coached my oldest daughter, Tori Pine's first couple of years of her high school career. 93 was my last year, but I think it was 92. We're playing Castle Park, had a hell of a ball club, and Benji Gill was the star. And we're playing down there, and they beat us. I will tell you that right off the bat. But we had this really good pitcher, a guy that went on and really had a nice college career at UC Riverside, Chris Lang, threw a split finger fastball. And Benji Gill was playing short, and he pitched. He came in to pitch that day as well, I believe. But anyways, Benji hits this home run. He hit it 9 miles. I mean, I was in the dugout, I'm coaching Tori, and I stepped out. I wanted to see how far this ball went. He right-hand hitter. He hit the ball so far to right center field. I mean, it was a bomb. But he took about 3 days to run around the bases, and everybody's cheering him. And he was a hometown hero down there at Castle Park, and deservedly so. I mean, the guy watching him throw from shortstop, man, he had a cannon arm. He could run. He could hit. Surprised he only ended up being like a 239 career hitter. I thought he'd better hitter than that. But anyways, so they win. We go home. The next day, I had to go to the San Diego Hall of Champions, and it was for an award ceremony. And Benji Gill's there, and his uncle Jerry Berrigan, who played in the Orioles organization, and I knew Jerry a little bit because Jimmy Berrigan was a great ball player at Oklahoma State, and prior to that, he grew up in the South Bay, played for Jerry Bartow at Southwestern, and I'd coached against Jimmy when he was at Southwestern and when he was at Oklahoma State because I was at Texas Tech at the time. So anyways, Jerry Berrigan, his uncle, is with him, and I went up to Benji, and he was only a couple of weeks away from, being a high round draft pick. And I said to him, I go, boy, Benji, I go, that was one hell of a shot you hit yesterday against Torrey Pines. And he had a big smile on his face. And I go, you don't know who I am. And he just kind of looked at me, and Jerry was there, and Jerry knew me. And I said, well, I was one of the coaches for Torrey Pines yesterday. And I go, I just wanted to give you a little bit of advice. I go, you're going to be playing pro ball here in the next couple of months. And I just wanted to let you know that if you hit a home run like you did against us yesterday, don't take so long to run around the bases. If not, you're going to be pulling a ball out of your rib cage. And you should have seen the look on his face. And I'm sure that if that was ever brought up to him, he'd probably remember that, because I remember looking at his uncle Jerry, and he just had a big smile on his face because he knew what I was talking about. But I'm trying to help the young guy, play the game the right way. But, following Benji Gill because of that, I sure hope he gets an opportunity someday to manage in the big leagues. I really do. And I hope a guy like Phil Nevin gets another opportunity. Those guys are good baseball guys, really good baseball guys. I'd love to see both those guys Phil's had an opportunity with the Angels, but that wasn't really a fair shake. I think he does a good job of handling ball players, but I'd like to see Benji Gill. He's been so loyal, managing in the Mexican League, trying to get his opportunity. And I don't think they can beat the United States. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I will tell you this. The United States only 1-3 in the WBC against Mexico. Mexico's gonna be ready to go tonight. That ballpark tonight is going to be rocking. It is going to be crazy scene. So I'm looking forward to that tonight at 5 o'clock. Okay, let's get out to Coach's Crew today. I've laid a lot on the table for you today, folks. A lot on the table. Tell a friend that Coach John Kentera is on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, I will tell you in advance, next Monday we will not have a show because I have to have my annual stress test. It's something that's already been planned. It's planned yearly. So don't fret. Coach is in the best shape. I'm in the best shape I've been in many, many years. Many, many years. So don't worry about old Coach being off to take a stress test. I'm going to be just fine. Okay, let's get out to Coach's Crew today. I'm fired up, man. We're getting a little bit closer to opening day. I think you can sense my excitement. And we're going to finish up with some college basketball today as well. Okay, Coach's Crew, let's roll those questions. Matt, I'm going to keep pushing us to take the WBC more seriously. It's not a shock these guys are jacked up playing for their country versus a random game for your employer in June. Hey, the other thing? I was listening to Rich Walls last night. He was doing the game on FS1 with, I think it was Dan Plezak, who I think does an incredible job. But United States, they're loaded. And I really love it. Scooble was only supposed to pitch one game, but it sounds like Scooble now wants to stick around. He liked the atmosphere. Not sure he wants to go back to Lakeland right now. So it sounds like Scooble may pitch again in the WBC, and that only helps the cause for the United States. So we'll see what happens. But I think the United States taking it very serious. I think they're taking it very serious. And I think as these games go, I mean, let's face it, in the United States bracket, you got Mexico, Italy, and Brazil, and I'm trying to think of the other team, Great Britain. Great Britain, they need to win a game. Brazil needs to win a game. When they play one another, whoever wins that game gets to be in the WBC in 4 years. If you don't, you've got to go through qualifying again. But really, it's a 3-team deal. I mean, Italy's got some pitching. I mean, Italy definitely has some pitching. They got Aaron Nola, who haven't pitched yet. They got Michael Lorenzen, who hadn't pitched yet. But really, it should be U.S. and Mexico moving on. But we'll see how that all works out. I mean, that game. I mean, the 3 games you got Team Mexico against U.S. and you got United States going to have to play Italy, and Mexico's going to have to play Italy. So. We'll see. Italy could be the fly in the ointment of the WBC for Mexico and for Team USA. But I think everybody's taking it serious. I really do. I think every time they've played the WBC, it's gotten a little bit more serious from its inception. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. I'll tell you this, I take it more serious. I wasn't a big fan of this. And, I hold my breath whenever the Padres players are involved. I enjoy the games, except when the Padre players are involved, because I'm always worried they're going to get hurt. Matt, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that question. Good to get a WBC question in. Big Steve Tejas, hi, Coach. What are pitchers' routines during the offseason? Back in the day, you didn't see very many pitchers' arm injuries. What do you think is the difference for pitchers today? I think velocity, Steve, is probably the biggest deal. Velocity is such a big part of it. I think these guys normally are in really good shape. I'm not sure when they start throwing. I was a big believer guys should take, at the end of the year, if you're done in September, late September, early October, you take off till January. Once January 1st starts, you start throwing a little bit. But these guys all have their own workout programs. And I think one of the things that bothers me, and I know you don't throw the ball to the plate, but I think a lot of these guys aren't as strong in their lower half than they need to be. I think you got to pitch with your legs more than your upper body, and I think that's why a lot of guys break down. They don't use their legs properly in their delivery. And I'm not saying the drop and drive method like Tom Seaver, but you got to know how to load that backside and take pressure off the upper body. A lot of guys that blow out their elbow, if you watch them pitch, they land on a stiff front leg and they catapult that ball to the plate. So that would be one of them. But I think also they baby these guys when they're young, and they throw too hard. And I don't care who you are. It's like Mason Miller. They're talking last year he threw over 400 pitches at over 100 miles an hour. How long is he going to be able to do that? Eventually, you're going to break down. One thing, it's kind of like when you invest with a financial guy, he's going to tell you two things, or at least all my guy did. Guy, by the way, I got a I got a great tax guy who I got to go see later today, but I've got a great financial advisor. And he said, John, he actually used to play for the Chargers and the Chiefs. He goes, John, I'm going to tell you something. And he told Kelly and I this like 11 or 12 years ago when we invested our money with him. He goes, I can tell you two things. It's going to go up and it's go down. And I can tell you it's been going down lately. It was going up for a long time. But since the things that are going on politically right now, it's gone down a little bit. But you know what? I'm not going to sweat. It's going to come back up. But at the end of the day, you can only go to the well so often with that arm, and eventually you're going to break down. And I always tell young pitchers, it's not when or where. It's when is going to eventually happen. You're going to have arm problems at some point in time in your career unless you're just really, really blessed. I don't care how much you work out, how much you run, how much you throw. Your arm is not made to throw a baseball at a high velocity. And I also think you got to warm up properly. Some guys go out there and they start to try to throw too hard too soon when they're in not great shape. We used to have our pitchers throw 2 weeks, maybe a bullpen every other day, fastball changeup before you incorporated the breaking ball. Just, work on your delivery, work into the plate, getting over your front leg, all that good stuff. Fundamentally sound stuff. You watch guys now, and the first thing I watched with Joe Musgrove last week was his mechanics. Was he working to the plate? And he was working to the plate. He wasn't letting that front hip open up that takes his shoulder towards first base. He looked better. And you could tell he's been working on his mechanics since he's coming back from Tommy John. You can't think about mechanics when you're out there. You got to, focus on the glove, working to the plate. But that's where coming into throwing bullpens, simulated games, you're working on all these things. So when you go into the game, it becomes natural and you're not having to think about it. Like a hitter, you can't be at the plate, thinking about this, that, and 38 other things with your hands, your stride. By the time you're thinking about that, the ball's by you. So you gotta work and practice. I mean, I can't begin to tell you fundamentals. And man, if you got better fundamentals than the guys you're playing against over the long period, over the long course of 162 games, you're going to win your fair share of ball games. There's no question about it. But Steve, if I had two things to say about a pitcher, number one, you need to run and have powerful legs, and number two, you got to play, once your arm's in shape, you got to play a lot of long toss for me. And then you get up on the mound and you're ready to go. You get me all fired up on that because I'm just not big on how some of these guys condition themselves. And the strength coaches now with these pro ball clubs, they have so much say on what these players are doing. And I don't know how much the manager and the pitching coach really come into play as far as conditioning aspect of it. It used to be the pitching coach's job, but now you got, a million guys on staff, and we know the Padres got like 14 coaches. I don't know what, one guy must bring out the fungo, another guy must bring out the ball bag. I don't know. 14 coaches for baseball, to me, is ridiculous. Okay, I'll tell anybody. I think that's ridiculous. But anyways, okay, what else we got today? Yeah, we're moving along rather nicely. Big Casey King. Good morning, Coach. And how about the USC Trojans off to a 15-0 start in baseball? And they're getting good pitching and hitting. I really like Mason Edwards on the mound for the Trojans. I saw that USD, they're on their way back. I think they play maybe tomorrow. I think they're playing either tonight or tomorrow against SC. Andy Stankiewicz, damn good coach. I met Andy one night many, many years ago, um, over when he was coaching at Arizona with Andy Sanchez. And then Andy Stankiewicz took over at Grand Canyon, did a great job. I thought it was a marvelous hire for the Trojans. I think this is, I want to say this is his third year, maybe only his, I think his third year. I think he's done a great job up there. Obviously, off to a 15-0 start. That job at SC is tough because you're always going to have the shadow of Rod Dato and to some degree Mike Gillespie. Mike was a very good friend of mine. I got an opportunity to meet Coach Dato once upon a time. You know who introduced me to Coach Dato? A guy that if he wouldn't have got hurt because he wouldn't back down from a center field wall, Fred Lind. January 1976. I went with Fred Lind's dad up to the alumni game at USC, and Fred came into the stands, took me down the field, and introduced me to Rod Dato. I was a senior in high school at Torrey Pines. I could only have wished to play at SC, not good enough to play at SC. I really wanted to, out of high school, I wanted to go to Arizona State, but I wasn't good enough for Arizona State, so I ended up going to junior college, and I was a basketball player as well, and I had 2 good years there in baseball and basketball, and ended up going to USIU, where I could have gone to some other schools, but I want to stay at home, have mom and dad watch me play. But it was great meeting Rod Dato, but yeah, Andy Stankiewicz doing a great job up there at SC. Great job. And happy for him. A really good guy and a very well respected man, not only as a baseball coach, but as a person, Andy Stankiewicz. All right, keep him rolling here. We got him going today, huh? Big Nathan, hey, coach, what do you think about Randy Vasquez starting the season opener? I wouldn't have a problem with it. Not going to happen. Uh, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's going to be King or Pavetta if his arm fatigue goes away. I got no problem with Randy Vasquez. In fact, I was probably about the only guy in San Diego that was excited about Randy Vasquez when he came over in that deal from the New York Yankees. Okay, because I saw the guy pitch before and I thought he was pretty good. But I got news for you. He's a whole lot better now than he was with the New York Yankees. So, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. But, the other thing will be interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if he pitched in one of those 3 games against the Tigers. He's got an off day. It may give Musgrove an extra day or so to maybe get another opportunity in the spring. I mean, they got to build Joe up a little bit. I mean, Joe could probably go out there and gut his way through 3 or 4 innings, but you really want him to have to gut his way through 3 or 4 innings the first start of the year? We'll see. And again, we'll see when Pavetta starts throwing again. He played catch Sunday. They said they're going to try to get him up on the mound later in the week, but prior to Sunday, he hadn't thrown in 5 days. That's not good. That's not good. I'm not going to panic yet. We'll keep our eye on that. We'll keep our fingers, they like to say, on the pulse on that. All right, Nathan, thank you very much. All right, D. Brafferty, does Waldron still have a chance at the rear end of the rotation now? I think one or two things with him. You either put him out on waivers or you put him on the 60-day IL. And that way you can, keep him in the organization as, just a depth piece. And then, once he comes off, you could send him down to throw for 20 days in AAA. So now we're talking about what, 2.5, almost 3 months. And then you can make a determination if you want to keep him or bring him up or you don't bring him up. You got to put him out on the waiver wire. Padres could keep him. They could move him to the 60-day IL. And then that opens up a 40-man roster spot as well. We'll have to wait and see. I'm telling you, I told you 2 weeks ago, and I know he's back throwing. We'll see when he gets into a game. But I told you 2 weeks ago, I bet you they put him on the IL. They could put him on the 10-day. They could put him on the 60-day. I'd put him on the 60-day. Let him keep working out. Let him get completely healthy. And then let him go down to AAA, get himself, ready going against batters and make a decision. but you can't send him down again. He's out of options. But you can, if he's on the IL and then you activate him, you can option him out for 20 days. So we'll see. Not that I'm trying to play GM, even though I like to. That's what I would do. I think that's how I would look at it. Okay, what else we got here today? Nathan, I've been working on the Padres lineup. Should Tatis lead off? What do you think about Cronenworth leading off? By the way, I was a left-handed pitcher for Patrick Henry, and I pitched against Benji Gill. You throwing that breaking ball down and in, you swing over top of it. Nathan, I like that. Thanks for sharing that. As far as the Padre lineup, I'll say this. Um, I'm still, if I'm managing, I got to have Tatis leading off. I'm not going to have Cronenworth lead off. Cronenworth doesn't steal bases. Cronenworth doesn't strike the fear of God into you like Tatis does. I mean, you get the first three guys up there, and again, I don't know what they're looking to do in the number two spot. I'll tell you this: if I'm managing, I'm probably going with Tatis, Merrill, then I'm going with Manny. Those would be my three guys, and I'm not sure who I'd hit fourth right now. Maybe Laureano. I like Laureano probably maybe a fifth. I'd maybe go Miguel Andujar could hit fourth occasion. Nick Castellanos. Castellanos is more of a 5 or 6 guy for me. You could figure that out. Maybe Gavin Sheets. Maybe you give Gavin Sheets an opportunity to hit cleanup. It's going to be interesting, but I think on this ball club, you got to have Tatis Jr. leading off, and I think you have to have Merrill hitting number 2. I want a left-hand batter in between Tatis and Manny. That's the way I'd like to see it, but we'll see. I'm not making out the lineup card. Patrick Henry, they got a pretty good ball club again this year. People are telling me Patrick Henry's pretty good. Patrick Henry's had a great history of baseball. In fact, we played against him when I was playing in 1976. We beat them in the CIF quarterfinals at Cunningham Stadium, which is now known as Ron Fowler Park. Had a good day that day. 3 for 3, a single, double, and a triple, and a walk. Pretty good day at the old ballpark for the old coach. And but now they've got a good history, a lot of good players. Matt Notes came out of that school. A lot of good guys came out of that school. Nathan, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Okay, we're going to get to college basketball. I'll be very honest. Both Division I teams still left. USD got beat the other night by Seattle Pacific. They won their first game, and then they got beat by a bucket the other night by Seattle U. So they're done. Steve Lavin's done. Kim Yamasi said they may hire a coach today, tomorrow, or sometime this week. Hopefully they get a good one because that basketball program at USD right now is a complete and utter disaster. It's that simple. College basketball, Aztecs 20-10. Good win on Friday night. A really entertaining game Friday night. Holy Toledo. That was a heck of a game. They won 89-86 over UNLV. I mean, both teams, I'm not going to say both teams played great defense because they didn't. The Aztecs shot 55% and UNLV shot 48%. Both teams shot well from behind the arc. Vegas was 10 of 23. Aztecs 10 of 25. Fantastic. A great win by the Aztecs. UNLV playing some pretty good basketball right now. Aztecs finished the regular season at 14-2 at Viejas. This season, BJ Davis, big night, career high. 30 points, was hotter than a baker's apron, 11 of 17, 4 of 8 on threes, 4 of 4 at the free throw line. Reese Dixon Waters, another solid game, 19.6 rebounds. Aztecs, number 2 seed. They play Thursday at 6 p.m. in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West Men's Basketball Championship. They play the winner of number 7 Colorado State, who beat San Diego State little over a week ago in Fort Collins, and Colorado State going against number 10 seed Fresno State. I would think Colorado State would win that game. Aztecs, it's this simple. They've got to win to get in. They drop a game, stick a fork in them, they're done. Disappointing year. Worst year in Brian Dutcher's career at San Diego State as a head coach right now. Disappointing. They were anointed the unanimous favorite to win the Mountain West Conference. They finished in second place, but they've had some historic meltdowns this year during the season. Very, very disappointing. And you got to wonder what can the Aztecs expect out of Magoon Guath? I mean, the other night, he played a little over 18 minutes. He had 6 points and 4 rebounds, 2 of 9 shooting, 1 of 4 on threes. Not the intimidating factor. Is he hurt? Is he disenchanted? He doesn't look like he wants to play to me. He looks like he's got no motivation to play whatsoever. I don't know where he's at. Maybe there's too many people talking in his ear. I wonder if he'll be back next year. I think there could be a lot of guys leave this Aztec program. I really do. I think a lot of these guys want to go somewhere where they can garner more playing time. Guys don't like playing 18 to 22 minutes. They want to play 30 minutes. And a lot of these guys could go to other schools and probably get that opportunity. But you're playing 11 guys more times than not, or 10 guys. When you look at the Aztecs, and again, I know Brian Dutcher's trying to keep everybody happy, but you know what? You keep nobody happy. Nobody wants to play 22 minutes if they're a great player. I'll tell you this. When I was in junior college, I know it's junior college different, but I averaged 37 minutes a game my sophomore year in junior college. And there were 7 games. I never came out. When I was at USIU, when I started, I would play, 28 to 32 minutes. If I was coming off the bench, I might get 20. But you know what? If you're starting, man, you want to play close to 30 minutes a night. And when you're used to playing a lot, and then all of a sudden you're playing 18, 19, 20, 21 minutes, man, you're not even getting your lather up at that point in time. So I'm really anxious to see what's going to happen. And I don't think if they were to get beat, I don't care what round. If they get beat in the Mountain West Conference, I don't think they'll go to the NIT. They'll probably let the players vote on it, and they're not going to want to go. They can't host because of the NCAA. I mean, if they get beat before winning the Mountain West Conference tournament title, and they got the ability to win it, I'm pulling for them to win it. I don't know if they can find a way to get it done on a neutral court. They've normally always played well over there in Vegas. But you got some teams right now that are playing pretty good basketball. The team they beat the other night's playing pretty good basketball. UNLV, they beat up Utah State, who won the conference. They beat them a little over a week ago and beat them good. Colorado State's playing great basketball right now. New Mexico, they lost a hard-fought game on Saturday. They got beat by 4 up at Utah State. They got beat 94 to 90. They win that game. They win there'd have been a 3-way tie for the conference title. So the Mountain West Conference is going to be very difficult to win, the way the Aztecs have put themselves behind the 8 ball. But can they do it? Absolutely, they can do it. I don't know what to expect. I mean, you got a game coming up against either Colorado State or Fresno State. You got to take care of business and move on. Win and survive and move on. So we'll see. But you know what? There will be no postseason. If they do not win the Mountain West Conference tournament title, there'll be no postseason because they won't be getting into large berth to the NCAA, and they probably would turn down an NIT opportunity. UC San Diego. Man, I don't know if you saw the finish. My buddy Steve Quiz had a great call the other night. Jaden Vance, who's really come on and had a really nice conference. He's a freshman out of Arizona. Actually, was born in San Diego. He hit a layup. Great job. UC Santa Barbara scored with 5 seconds to go. Tom Beatty gets the inbounds pass. Really heady ball player, by the way. He was a transfer from Hawaii this year. He dribbled at the half court. Jaden Vance somehow or another got behind the defense. Beatty hits him with a pass. Vance lays it in with under a second to go, and they beat UC Santa Barbara up there, their 22nd win of the year. I'll tell you what, man, UC San Diego, if you haven't been out to watch them play, they play an exciting brand of basketball. They're 22-10, 12-8 in conference play. Great 64-63 win the other night. Wednesday, they play at the Leeds Family Forum against Cal Poly. Mustangs and Triton split their 2 meetings this year, each team winning on their home court. They'll be on a neutral court. This is a good basketball team. And I will tell you this, and they've got the ability, you know what? There isn't one team of the 8 in this tournament, including Cal Poly and UC San Diego. There's not one team in this tournament that could not win it. whether it be CSUN or UC Davis, Irvine, Santa Barbara, Hawaii. I mean, of the 8 teams, anybody could win it. You can't say that about a lot of tournaments. It's been that crazy of a year in the Big West. And it wouldn't surprise me if Clint Allard and the Tritons ran the table. Now, they're going to have to win 4 games in 4 days, which is not easy, but it is doable. Their girls did it last year. And by the way, congratulations to Heidi Vanderveer and the Lady Tritons. They did a great job. They ended up getting a regular season title with UC Irvine. So congratulations to Heidi Vanderveer and the girls out there. And how about San Diego State's women? Oh my God. That has to be one of the worst losses you could ever have. They win the Mountain West Conference title. They go 19-1. They were like what, 25-4, and they lose to Air Force in the first round. They're done. They're not going to get it in large berth because the Mountain West Conference women they're not real high on the RPI. Their season's done. That's unbelievable. They lost to Air Force in the first round. Can you believe that? After just smoking through the conference, they were 19-1 in conference, and they get beaten the first round by Air Force. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You talk about blowing a great year. I know you can sit back, oh man, it was a great year, it was a great year. But you got a regular season title and you get blown off the court. And they didn't get blown. They lost by like 7, but even then, how do you lose to Air Force ladies on a neutral court? Give the Lady Falcons a big credit there, but man, what a disaster for San Diego State's women after a really nice regular season and conference season. Jeez, unbelievable. Okay, let's get out to take a look at Coach's mailbag from last time out. Austin Prather. Oh, by the way, Austin, a very happy belated birthday. I sent you a message, but I didn't mention it on the air. I thought I'd do that today. So hopefully you had a good birthday. And I hear you're going to opening day. Hey, lucky duck. Good job for you. Coach, if you were manager of the Padres, who would be your opening day starting pitcher? Probably right now, because of the situation with Pivetta, probably be Michael King. As long as Michael King's healthy, I'd probably start him. I think if Pivetta was healthy on what he did a year ago, I'd probably start him. But I think right now I'd probably go with Michael King. Be interesting to see when Craig Stammen's going to make that announcement, Austin. Good question. I like that question. A real good question. A lot of other teams have already given their guys the nod. The Padres have not done that. Maybe by the end of the week. Maybe after Michael King's next start. Maybe they're waiting for him to pitch well, and then they'll make that announcement. How about that? Let's keep an eye on that. See if he pitches well next time out, and then the next day they make the announcement Michael King starting. Let's see on that. All right, Austin, have a great day, buddy. Thank you very much for the question. User 654, who will hit the first home run for the Padres this season? I'm going to say Ramon Laureano. How about that? I'm not going Tatis Jr. I'm not going Merrill. I'm not going Machado. I'm going to go Ramon Laureano. Maybe against the left hand. Maybe he'll take Tarek Skubal deep on opening day and get the Friar faithful on their feet. Huh? We can always hope, can't we? Hope we can hit a loud foul ball off of Skubal. That dude's pretty tough, man. He got some nasty stuff out there on the mound. 2-time Cy Young Award winner we're going to see on opening day. All right. Thank you, user 654. Very much appreciate that. Well, that's going to do it. Wrap it up. Over an hour today. Wow. A lot of good stuff. Try to bring you the best I can bring. And hope all the other talk show hosts around enjoyed all the content I gave them for their show later today. A lot of good stuff right there, huh? A lot of these guys can just tune in to me. I'll tell them everything they need to talk about during the day, and they can get on with their day. And they don't have to spend, 4 or 5 hours in prep work. Leave it to me. I'll get that job done. All right. Again, Wednesday, 9 a.m. We'll be right back at it. Looking forward to having you be a part of the program. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like, please share, please tell a friend. And again, if you'd like to subscribe to be a member of our Gold Glove Club, $2.99 a month. And also want to thank everyone for supers that we get throughout the course of the program as well. Until Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. for Jonathan Oliveri, our producer director, Coach John Kentera. Have a great week, everyone. Talk to you Wednesday morning. Bye-bye.